Good morning. Today we want to continue our lesson from where we left the other time. But before we continue, let's recap, or let's try to remind ourselves of what we did the other time. Introduction to basic design, element of design. The last time we did element of design. And let's remind ourselves what the definition and types of the element of design we discussed. What was the definition of element of design? We said that element of design are the basic parts of an artwork. And we used examples like our mothers in the kitchen. When our mothers in the kitchen wants to cook, or when they want to prepare a stew, let's use a stew for example. When they want to prepare a stew, you know that there are some things, basic things they will need in preparing the stew. What are some of the things they will need? They will need tomatoes, onions, oils, spices, some salt, they will need water, they will need vegetables. All these things comes together to prepare the stew. The collective name for all these things is ingredients. They are called ingredients. The collective name is ingredients. So the ingredients comes together to form the stew. Now, when we come to an artwork, those ingredients represent elements of design. So the elements are put together to form an artwork. So what were some of the elements of design we discussed? We spoke about line as an element of design. We spoke about shape, form, texture, volume, mass, and the rest. We made mention that line is a mark of a moving point, of a moving tool from one point to the other. It's a mark of a moving tool from one point to the other. And we said that some of the lines are horizontal, vertical, spiral, diagonal, converging, diverging, thin, thick lines. Those were some of the examples of lines we gave, like wavy lines too, zigzag line. And we gave their emotional meanings, or what the lines represent. We spoke about shape, and we also said that shape, we have different types of shapes. We spoke about space, and we made mention that we have negative space and positive space. We spoke about texture. We made mention that we have optical one and tactile texture. We have actual texture too. Then we spoke about mass and volume and the others. Then we ended the discussion and the element of design. Today we want to continue still under the introduction to basic design, but we will be moving to another topic, which is principle of design. Principles of design. Principles of design. So, principles of design. When we say principles of design, what do we mean? What are principles of design? Principles of designs are the rules and the guidelines that governs how elements of design should be arranged. Again, principles of designs are the rules and guidelines that governs how elements of design should be arranged. So when you want to produce an artwork, you need your elements of design, the elements we mentioned earlier on. But the element, before the element of design can be added and some combined to produce an effective artwork, you need rules that governs it. And that is the rule we are talking about, the principles. You need rules that governs how you add or subtract the element of design in producing an artwork. So these are the rules, the principles of design. They are the rules that governs the arrangement of the element of design to produce an artwork. Like the steel, for instance, the ingredients. There are rules in preparing the steel. You cannot just put everything in it once and for all. We have step-by-step procedure in getting the steel that you are willing to prepare, or in getting the steel that you want. In the same way, when you are producing an artwork, you know that these rules govern the combination or subtraction of those elements in producing an artwork. So principles of design are the rules and guidelines that governs how elements of design are arranged. Let's look at some of the principles. You look at first, balance. Balance is a principle. So in producing an artwork, you make sure that your work is balanced. How you arrange your elements, they are all balanced. We also look at variety. We have harmony. Harmony too is another principle. We have proportion, movement, unity, rhythm, and contrast. We have more. Even rhythm, you can add repetition to rhythm or repetition. So you can add rhythm or repetition. So these are some of the elements, some of the principles that governs the element of design in producing an artwork. Let's first look at balance as a principle. How to achieve balance in an artwork. Let's first look at the definition of balance. So balance is the arrangement of elements of design so that no part of the work seems heavier than the other part. It is the arrangement of elements of design so that part of the work seems heavier than the other parts. And we have types of balance. We have symmetrical or formal balance, and in this type of balance, it is achieved when one half of the work is a mirror image of the other half. When one half of the work is a mirror image of the other half. I will explain that. Or the situation when both halves of the work are the same. When we say a mirror of the other half, when one half mirrors the other half, when you are dressing up for an occasion and you wear all your attire, you stand in front of a mirror, what do you see? You see yourself, image of yourself. You see exactly what you are wearing in the mirror. The man standing in the mirror and the man standing in front of the mirror, there is no difference in both of them. is the same person. If he's wearing a watch, the watch reflects in the mirror. If he's wearing a hat, the hat reflects in the mirror. Whatever thing he's putting on reflects in the mirror. So he's saying that it's achieved when one half of the work is a mirror image of the other half. It means that the work is the same. Both sides are the same. That's what it means. So let's take, for example, a table, a steady table. You know that the steady table, we have legs for the steady table. You will notice that the left leg of the table and the right leg of the table are the same. They are the same. The left leg of the table and the right leg of the table are the same. One is not heavier than the other. One is not bigger than the other. If it happens that one is bigger and heavier than the other, the table will not be stable. But for the table to be stable, it means one half should mirror the other, meaning that it should be the same, or both halves of the work are the same, so that the table should be stable. This is an example of what we just spoke about. So you see, this one reflects, or it mirrors the other one. If you like to call this A and this one B, it means that A reflects or A mirrors B. So they are the same. One is not bigger than the other. One is no longer than the other. One is not fatter than the other. So that is symmetrical balance or formal balance. Let's look at two. Asymmetrical or informal balance. What is it? This type of balance is when two unlike objects are made to seem to have equal weight. This time, they are not mirroring each other, but they are two different objects. But when you look at it carefully, you see that their weights are equal. So unlike objects are made to seem to have equal weight. So when you look at this shape, it's a shape of a kite, and this one is a circle. They are two different shapes, not the same thing, two different shapes, but their weight, when you look at it, you see that their weight seems to be the same. Their weight seems to be the same. So that is what we call informal balance. Informal balance. They are two different objects, but their weight seems to be the same. When you look at formal balance, one mirrors the other, meaning that those two things are the same. They are the same objects. There's no difference. They are the same object, the same size, the same weight. But when you look at informal, informal have two different objects, but their weight seems to be the same. When you look at it, their weight seems to be equal or the same. Then we have the third one. The third one is radar. We look at this third type of balance. This one happens when the element or object in the work are positioned around the central point. They are positioned around the central point. So let's look at a table with one stand or one leg. Most of the times when you visit some restaurant, you see a table. This time the table doesn't have four legs. It has just one leg. And this leg, table like that, you don't put the leg at the end tail of the table, but it should be at the middle, the center of the table, so that it can stand. So that's this radar balance. That's what it is. It's positioned around a central point. A central point. Then we look at variety. Variety. So variety refers to combining one or more elements to create interest and attention. It is variation in the element of design in the composition to break monotony. I'm repeating, variety refers to combining one or more elements to create interest. When you look at the image here, you see that these shapes are of different styles. They are not the same. They are of different styles. So you see that it creates variation or variety of different types of shapes. So when you are producing an artwork and you want to use your element of design to produce a good artwork, you make sure that you use this principle, variety, so that you do not use one element of design. You can use different types of elements. You combine different types of elements to produce the artwork. So here you see kite, you see rectangle, you see circle, and the rest. All these ones are put together to produce a good artwork. And the reason for variety is to break monotony, so that it will not look like just one thing all the time. To break monotony. When you eat one stew, tomato stew for 1 month, you will be tired. So in breaking monotony, you need to change the stew. When you are cooking rice and you are always eating it with tomato stew, sometimes you need to make sure that those stew, sometimes you change it to cabbage stew or other vegetable stew to break monotony. So that's what variety is. Let's look at another one. We look at harmony. Harmony. So harmony refers to the blending of elements in a pleasing way. It is a design principle that